Saggy babies, what's going on? My name is Yvonne. You might know me as Luna with LT Reads, and today we are taking a look at some channel messages that I have received through my automatic writing. Please only take what resonates if it does, and I trust that something will if you have found this message, okay? So, Sag, the first thing that I'm hearing and seeing through this reading is that you are in this energy of being very direct, straightforward, and blunt, I'm hearing. There's no messing around, okay? When we see leave me alone, please, I feel like you are being protective of your energy. You are trying to protect your peace and quiet. Maybe you've been indulging in that a little bit more as of late. If not, that may be an important message for you. Some of my Saggies may be, utilizing candles, listening to a lot of music that they enjoy, or taking a higher precedent when it comes to self-care. If not, again, that may be something that could be important for you. Taking baths, doing things that you enjoy, reading, writing, going for walks, whatever it is that helps to soothe your soul, okay? We have returning to self. And I think that part of doing that is acknowledging the fact that for probably quite a while now, you felt like you've been on this proverbial roller coaster of life, going through these times where you feel like things are on an up and up, and they feel great, and they feel good, and they feel exciting, and then quickly plummeting to a downfall where you feel lost and fearful. And thinking about this metaphorically, you know how sometimes when you go to a theme park and you're on this roller coaster and there may be signs that are indicating which way that you're going to turn or where you're going to go, there may have been these signs on the wall, the writing on the wall that you missed pertaining to a professional, personal, or platonic situation, and you just kind of kept on going on the ride. You kept on going with it because you were hoping that things would take a turn, take a change, but instead it was thrilling in all the wrong ways, I'm hearing. Almost to a point where maybe it made you feel nauseous or sick, and caused you to step into this energy where you're now not willing to compromise in any sense or way. You're going to stand your ground and see things for what they are. Your boundaries are in brick. That's a message from Spirit, which I don't want to say I enjoy it, but I think that it's a very strong message of fortitude here. We have stone cold hearts and eternal warmth with reading energy. So this is where I get a little bit not concerned, but I want to say that, be careful, Sag, of being indifferent. Through your perception of reading other people's energy, you may have a tendency to project feelings or to make quick judgments, perhaps, or to mirror energy, and that's not a bad thing, but it's more so about being mindful of it in the moment, okay? Not a poker jab. But anyways, I do feel like this is a powerful time of being for you with no more Mr. Nice Guy, whether you're a male or female. It's just kind of a generic saying. But it's goodbye to people-pleasing here. You are realizing that there may have been times in the past where you, through putting yourself through this roller coaster, signing up for this ride and going through with it, you were people pleasing in a sense because you weren't giving to yourself. And you were just kind of taking what was being thrown at you rather than standing up for what you believe in or how you feel. And it's like, no more of that. Through this as well, this experience, you may be realizing this runner-chaser dynamic where in the past you may have been, and don't take this as a poker jab, okay? This is just messages that are coming through, but it may be for a Sag who needs it. where you were seeking external validation or assurance, or you felt confirmed by the fact that people liked qualities in you, but it wasn't truly about you, if that makes any sense. With this chaser dynamic, you may have been chasing these feelings of affirmation. This is very deep, okay? Only take it if it resonates. But also in the same sense, there may have been some kind of avoidance where it's like this difficult line between having just enough attention but not too much. It's a little bit complex there. But, you went from being, anxious to avoidant, from seeking this validation to now, okay, I've realized that was false, and I don't want it at all. So it's one extreme to another. Speaking of roller coasters, right? Very adventurous, which a Sag is, but also can be extreme in certain senses. Balance is critical here, and balance is needed in the architecture, in the experience of a roller coaster, right? The cart itself cannot function without balance at play. So that's needed to even go on the ride to begin with. This is so metaphorical. I hope that you're sticking with me here. But I think that the balance between anxious and avoidant attachment will eventually lead you to security. Finding that line in the sand and, balancing that tightrope. To recognize when, having the awareness to recognize when you are being anxious and avoidant, which will eventually lead you to security. I hope that makes sense. For significant numbers, we have 77, 555, 64, 21, and 36. 36 adding up to 9, which we have here. The 7s and the 5s, we have 5 and we have 14. So 14 is a multiple of 7, of course. And for other numbers that are of importance, we also have 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Anyways, so we have roller coasters to falling from heights. Yeah, you may have felt like you were once at this point where you felt so good, and then all of a sudden now you feel so poorly for some reason. And it's these ups and downs at rapid paces that leave you feeling uncomfortable. Okay, what you're looking for now with this no compromising, no more Mr. Nice Guy, goodbye people pleasing, is consistency. That is all that you want, Saggy. And I don't blame you for that. Who doesn't want consistency? I mean, like, come on. However, is it very rare to come upon? Yeah, it kind of feels like it in this day and age, unfortunately. But this is a matter of rewiring, reprogramming, and restarting. If we have this negative outlook, or we fear consistency even being a possibility, then it won't be a possibility. We have the ability to change our outlook, our perspective, and to manifest. And your energy, your mindset will manifest what you bring in. And what I mean by that, not to be corny, but if you are, thinking, this is not going to work out for me, I'm tired of the same thing every day, what's the point? Then you're going to bring that upon yourself in your day-to-day life. However, if you think, okay, I've tried so hard, I've been diligent, I've been resilient, and I'm going to keep working towards a better, brighter future, then you are manifesting with positivity, and you're having a positive outlook, and still being optimistic, which will hopefully in turn bring about more positive outlooks for you and more consistency. It's about the consistency in your mindset as well. I'm sorry, this is so ridiculous. Something about hot midsummer nights love is coming out. Saggy, I don't know if you, through this resistance of no more compromise, no more people pleasing, this is a little bit of a romantic message here, but you may be feeling a little bit more lustful, like you've been craving or desiring some kind of connection. But at the same time, with this whole avoidance and anxiousness realization, it's kind of like, I don't just want a one night stand. I want something that's going to have some kind of depth, some kind of value to it, something besides passion. But there may be something coming in here where it's uncalled for and you just kind of impulsively, as Sagittarius does, step into that realm of adventure. You go back to that theme park. It's like, oh, well, that roller coaster wasn't great, but maybe this one will be better. This could be an old flame, maybe not. It could just be a random person. But I do feel like for some Saggies, it will be a past person, especially with Mercury retrograde coming to an end as of late. And with brief messages here and in control, intimidating, you may feel like you are being brief with your messages. It's kind of like alluding to the introduction of this reading where I said that you were being blunt, straightforward, and direct in your conversations with others. This is about a sense of being in control now. And this may be intimidating for others in the past who may have known you to be different. All right. So, okay, let's step over to the oracle cards for a quick second. I love this chameleon spirit. It says, act as if. Sorry about my hair there. I shed like a golden retriever. But act as if. What I find really cool is that the next card that came out, the bat spirit, says a rebirth is assured. And it kind of came out as a sentence. Act as if a rebirth is assured. And that's kind of exactly what I feel like you are doing. Returning to self. Rebirthing. However, there may be some dark fears that surround this rebirth. And the dark fears would be, what we have at the bottom of the deck here is death. Death represents in tarot a change, a transformation. And honestly, if you do look up the layman's terms, rebirth is included. So a renewal of a cycle. The Grim Reaper, well, this is a pretty cool depiction of the Grim Reaper, but he's here carrying his flag and saying, there is an end coming. There's a transition that is coming upon you. This is something that has probably ailed you for a while, and now things need to change. They need to transform. And that is exactly what you are doing. All right, I want to go to the tarot now before I read your final message, which will be the chameleon spirit because it's so gorgeous. But with tarot here, we have the Two of Wands to the Four of Pentacles. You've made a decision here that you are now holding on to your control. You are protecting yourself at all costs, and you are guarding yourself. You're kind of keeping your cards close to your chest, but it's about having a practical mindset and about guarding your emotions, about staying grounded as well. Okay, there is a cycle here that has come to a close. That's also a signifier of death. And you are realizing that there has been some kind of hurt, betrayal, or deception, or just you're over the heartbreak with this situation, causing it to end. And I love that the Three of Swords here proceeds to this Four of Swords. That shows me that you're making progression. The Four of Swords is about rest, relief, reflection, about taking that independent time to consider the paths that you are going to take moving forward, and about how you're going to gain that sense of control in your day-to-day life moving forward after experiencing this hurt and closing out this cycle. You are resting and reflecting in a quiet sense, not sharing this with very many people, but rather introspecting and intuitively considering how the past has affected you and how it's hurt you and how you're going to avoid that in the future. Okay? And with the King of Swords here, it's very practical. It's very logical. What I've noticed as well with this reading is that, I don't know if you've seen any of my other readings, but sometimes they are all over the place. Saggy, yours is very organized. It's very, laid out. And that is what I feel like you are planning towards, okay? It's a very head over heart kind of energy right now for you. With these darkest fears here, I'm getting 2 messages here for my 2 different collectives of Saggies that I'm reading for. For one collective, the romantic collective, you are disappointed by past offers that were small, that lacked commitment, that lacked reliability. And you are looking at, this with a sense of defeat and disappointment. What you don't realize by maybe crying over spilt milk here is that there's still so much positivity behind you. Okay? So don't lose that sense of hope. Staying stuck in this regretful energy may be something that negatively affects you, is a harmful mindset, and that looms upon you. However, it's important with this Knight of Wands, your energy, to move forward with a sense of dedication, passion, charisma, and enthusiasm towards your future, and turn your back away from this devil. Okay? For another collective of my Sagittarians, it may be important for you to not be impulsive and to let this devil overtake your mindset. There may be addictions or codependency here that prevents you from moving forward. It's a similar message, but there could be addictions or toxicities involved, like drinking, for this collective, that prevents you from essentially moving forward. You may have this idea that you want to have a better future, a better career, more stable finances, or a stronger sense of commitment when it comes to relationship. But all of these energies are kind of overtaking you in a negative sense and preventing you from this desire. All right. So finally, Sag, I want to end off with this chameleon spirit. The chameleon spirit says act as if. And I have not seen this card before, so I was really intrigued to see what the definition would be. And let's go ahead and take a look at that together, my love. The chameleon spirit says act as if. Chameleon spirit shares her gift with you today to prepare you for changes that will greatly benefit you. Outer conditions are changing, and you're required to come into harmony with them so you can co-create your greatest dream. Feeling sensitive? Good, because that will come in handy, enabling you to determine how best to adapt to your environment and the people in it, while at the same time maintaining your integrity and inner equilibrium. Even if you feel like you're in uncharted territory, chameleon spirit has complete faith in your ability to fit in and learn the lay of the land, adapting as necessary. This is a fortunate time to act as if and do as others do until the new ways feel familiar and completely natural. Life is offering you a great lesson now. Adapting isn't about losing yourself. It's about learning how to dance with others. Your protection message is being sensitive and having empathy for others can become a heavy burden if you don't practice self-care. Could it be you're feeling stressed because you've tuned into challenging emotions that aren't even yours? Chameleon spirit does not want you to adapt to these conditions by withdrawing or distracting yourself, hoping the feelings will just go away, or attempting to rescue another who may be having a pity party. You can be swallowed up trying to manage it all. It is time to figure out where you end and the rest of the world begins. Not all conditions are yours to match. You need to distinguish your own color from the rest of the world right now and take time out to soothe your sensitive soul. Choose some activities that will restore your sense of being grounded and avoid people who revel in drama. Take a break from social media, too. Self-care and a timeout is the answer to this temporary dilemma. Awesome. Okay, one last message that I wanted to touch on. Sag, I feel like that oracle message really did reflect upon everything that we have talked about here in this reading. But the final message that I was getting here is, if you notice in these readings, and also because of YouTube community standards, I have to cover up these private parts of some of these cards. And there's something here about not wanting to share your personal privates, your personal things with other people, maybe protecting that. And I think that's very important when it comes to This whole acting as if and blending it, choosing when to blend in and when to make yourself known. The chameleon spirit also, I think, speaks about defensive tactics, right? So it's about honing into your intuition and deciphering when that is needed and necessary and when it may be being done out of defensiveness and unnecessarily, if that makes sense. Sometimes, if you were to think about it, we see a chameleon in the wild, right? And we're so enticed by it and enamored by its beauty, so we approach it with no ill intent. We just want to examine it. But the chameleon, never having encountered a human before, feels threatened, and so they choose to, change their color or try to blend in to avoid being hurt, or whatever the case is. So there's something to be said about that when it comes to you. Anyways, take care of yourself, Sag. I love you so much, and I hope that this helps. Mwah.